At Enerpac, the Goal Zero initiative is part of our global commitment to improve workplace safety. Unfortunately, serious incidents can happen on a job site. Nevertheless, such mishaps may be avoidable if workers pay attention to the hazards and potential risks and know how to use tools correctly. At Enerpac, we're committed to safety. Our Goal Zero initiative is aimed at eliminating incidents. This video will cover the proper use of Enerpac hydraulic tools to maximize their safe and productive use in your workplace. Enerpac tools are powerful solutions for a wide variety of applications and markets, including infrastructure, mining, oil and gas, power generation, and many, many more. With the use of oil under high pressure, there's always the risk of injury if any hydraulic tool is not handled or used properly. Safe operation begins before you start working. Always pay attention to any local site conditions and safety requirements prior to beginning any work, and always make sure you select the right kind of tools for the job. One of the key guidelines is to obey the 80% rule. Do not exceed 80% of the maximum ratings for load and stroke. Be sure to first read the instruction manual and obey all safety warnings in the literature. Be aware of safety warnings posted on the job site and on the equipment. Personal protective equipment requirements may vary according to the location or application. However, the following items should always be used when you work with hydraulic tools: safety glasses, heavy-duty work gloves, and steel-toed work shoes or boots. When required, hard hats should also be worn. Additional personal protective equipment may be required depending on local regulations or the work environment. Before work begins, check the workplace for unsafe conditions, such as an open flame or welding sparks, temperatures over 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 66 degrees Celsius, dangerous electrical connections, poorly ventilated spaces when using gas-powered pumps, trip hazards, spilled oil, flammable liquids, or standing water. These are just some of the unsafe conditions that can be present on a job site. If you're unsure if a workplace condition could present a hazard, ask your supervisor. Employees should be aware of the risks around the work area and take proper action before work begins. Bad things can happen too quickly to react in time. It's best to prevent them before there's a problem. Visualize what could happen and always have a plan to avoid personal injury. And remember these two cardinal rules. First, never ever put any part of your body under a load without first cribbing it. And don't have any loose pieces in the setup. Secure all parts before the lift begins. Cylinders come in a wide variety of sizes and capacities to handle a huge assortment of applications. They're extremely powerful tools, and they require some special considerations for safe operation. Always check them for signs of wear, corrosion, or other damage. Never use cylinders that have been modified, such as an added handle or a lifting eye, or any other non-factory modification. When you set up a system for the first time, remember to remove the air from the hand pump and cylinder set. Bleed all air out of the system per the instruction manual. Whether you're using single-acting or double-acting cylinders, always use a saddle to evenly distribute the load on the cylinder plunger. Without a saddle, the plunger could deform and permanently damage the cylinder. The saddle also protects the threads in the plunger. The entire cylinder saddle must be in contact with the load. Placing only a portion of the saddle under the load puts irregular stress on the plunger, which can damage equipment and/or cause a serious incident. Make sure the surface is as flat as possible under the cylinder. With as large a support base as possible, a cylinder base attachment provides more stability. Be alert to column effect and side load as the lift progresses. If the plunger bends too far or the cylinder shifts, stop pumping and relieve the pressure so the load slowly retracts to a safer position. Then determine what changes you need to make to safely complete the task. When you're using a bottle jack, the same safety rules apply. Use a solid support on a level surface. Keep the jack saddle entirely in contact with the load. And never place your body under the load without cribbing. For safe operation, do not exceed 80% of the manufacturer's stroke and load limits. Plus, one more thing. Remove the jack handle when it's not being used to avoid creating a tripping hazard. Improper use of hoses and couplings are the most common cause of injuries related to hydraulic equipment, so it's important to cover some basic safety rules. A ruptured hose under pressure can cause injuries, including loss of limbs, blindness, and even death. Sudden loss of hydraulic pressure can also cause a serious incident when lifting heavy loads. There are typically 3 layers in a hydraulic hose: the cover, which protects the hose from abrasion and the environment; the reinforcement layer, which can be 2 layers of braided metal or flexible plastic; and the inner plastic tube that's in contact with the hydraulic fluid. If the outer layer is damaged, the reinforcement layer could also be compromised, resulting in a potentially hazardous condition. Always inspect hydraulic hoses before using them to make sure the outer layers have no cuts, cracks, or abrasions. Enerpac recommends replacing any hose that's more than 6 years old. However, this is highly dependent on usage, storage conditions, and environmental exposure. They may need to be replaced sooner. Never lift, carry, or drag equipment by the hose. Don't drop objects on the hose or drive equipment over a hose. Keep hoses away from areas beneath loads. Avoid sharp bends or kinks. As a rule, the bending radius should be at least 4.5 inches, but be sure to review the product specifications. So when you bend a hose like this, there should be at least 9 inches between hose sections. If the hydraulic hose ruptures or disconnects, immediately relieve the system pressure. Never try to grab a leaking hose under pressure. The force of the hydraulic fluid could cause serious injury. Before attaching the coupling, check both parts to make sure there's no debris or any damage. Dirt in the coupler is a leading cause of dirty oil in the system. You can clean dirty couplers with compressed air. And always use dust caps when the coupler's not in use. Before you start pumping, make sure you have a complete connection. You should never try to fix a bad connection during a lift or tool operation. You'll strip the threads and possibly destroy the coupling. When you detach a coupling, be sure the cylinder is fully retracted, or use a shutoff valve or safety valve to lock in cylinder pressure. A lock nut cylinder may also be used to hold the load and allow the removal of the hose. Never remove a coupling when a hose is under pressure. If it's hard to remove, stop and check the pressure. And never use low-pressure couplings or fittings that are not compatible with high-pressure hydraulic operation. Attachments like this let you use hydraulic power in a wide variety of applications. Keep in mind that attachments that are threaded into the cylinder, such as extensions, reduce capacity by 50%. So if you're planning on using a cylinder rated at 10 tons, your real capacity is only 5 tons. Extensions can increase column effect and side load dramatically, so take extra precautions. Be sure to keep the thread protector in place when you're not threading attachments into the cylinder. Pumps provide the hydraulic power to the cylinder and have their own set of safety requirements. When using a hand pump, fill it only to the recommended level. Too much oil limits performance and may result in leaks from the reservoir vent. If the pump is connected to a cylinder, make sure the cylinder is fully retracted before you add oil. Close the release knob finger tight. Too much force will ruin the valve. Never use an extension on the handle for more leverage. Hand pumps are designed to operate efficiently with the built-in handle. When using an Enerpac power pump, whether it's electric, air, gas, or battery, follow these safety procedures. Never start a powered pump for the first time under load. Always make sure the directional control valve is in the neutral position. And always make sure that the directional control valve matches the application. When using a power pump, as in any pump, be sure to fill it only to the recommended level. Remember, too much oil will limit performance. It may result in reservoir vent leaks or damage to the bladder. Before starting any type of power pump, make sure all the components are in proper working order. Make sure the cord is not damaged and the plug matches the electrical receptacle, voltage, and current requirements. With cordless electric pumps, such as the XC, follow the manufacturer's guidance for battery and charger care and pump operation. Larger pumps carry a lot of oil. Take extra care to prevent injuries and lifting accidents when transporting these larger pumps. Roll bars are available for most of the larger versions to allow for easier lifting and transport, as well as protecting against abuse. When pressure settings are critical, always use a gauge. Never override the factory settings or relief valves, and don't exceed 80% of the manufacturer's load rating. Hydraulic presses provide many versatile functions for manufacturing and maintenance applications, but also present some special safety concerns. Make sure the work area is clean and free of clutter. Be especially careful to keep hands and loose clothing away from the working area. Any work part should be securely positioned in the press, and there should be no loose pieces in the setup. Become familiar with accessories such as push pins for precision pressing, smooth saddles for pressing delicate parts, V-blocks for pressing round stock, and other accessories that affect press operation. When filling or servicing any Enerpac equipment, make sure you use only genuine Enerpac hydraulic oil. Enerpac oil has the correct viscosity and additive package to withstand the demands of high pressure, high temperature operation, and is compatible with seal materials. It also lubricates parts and protects metal components. Using the wrong fluid can destroy your seals and pump, and will invalidate your warranty. We've covered a lot here, so let's review. Read the instruction manuals first and be aware of safety warnings. Check the work environment for potentially dangerous conditions and always use the proper and required personal protective equipment. Inspect the equipment for potentially dangerous conditions such as damaged hoses, couplings, and cylinder plungers. Follow safety guidelines for correct use of hoses, couplings, cylinders, jacks, pumps, and presses. Obey the 80% rule. Do not exceed 80% of the manufacturer's maximum ratings for load and stroke. Never have loose pieces in the setup. And never ever put any part of your body under a load without cribbing the load first. There are many specialty tools that are not addressed in this general safety program. When using any of these tools, always be sure to read the safety manual first. Safety on the job is more than just using our tools correctly. It's an integral component of our engineering, manufacturing, and product training efforts. Thanks for watching. All of us at Enerpac sincerely hope that you'll follow these safety guidelines, and together, make the commitment to achieve our goal of zero workplace incidents. The Enerpac Academy provides our employees, distributors, dealer service personnel, and end users from around the world with a facility to learn about the functionality and service of all of our products. For a listing of opportunities available to you, contact Enerpac today. For instruction sheets and detailed safety information on Enerpac products, visit enerpac.com.